All right, good evening, everyone. It's 6 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I apologize for how warm it is in here. The AC is not working in this space very well, so I'm not going to drag this out. We are all hot enough as is, and the longer we sit in here, the worse it gets. So thank you all for coming this evening and giving up your time to get ready for back to school and go over some of the new things that we've got going on this year. I'm Mrs. Lee. I'm the high school principal. So I'm just going to introduce to you some of the admin. They're here tonight. So you have a name with a face. Again, I'm Miss Lee. I'm the principal. We have Miss Volbeck. She is the assistant principal responsible for last name A through F. Mr. Warren is another one of our assistant principals who's over here on the side. He's responsible for letters G through N. And Mr. Short is not here this evening, but we call him the Wizard of Oz because he has the last names O through Z. So if you're ever needing to reach your student's alphabet principal, these are your contacts. And I also want to say this entire presentation will be emailed to you all and posted on our website, as well as we're doing a recording of this presentation so that can be emailed out as well. Counselors, we split those up by last name as well. So last names A through F have Mrs. Morgan. She's not here this evening. Mrs. Vanneman, who is here, she has G through N. And Mrs. Grace, who is here this evening, has O through Z. Some other people that you may need to know, again, I'm going to go through this kind of quickly, but you will have access to this. Coach Randy Rutherford is going to be our Dean of Students. Mrs. Adcock, she is our College and Career Coordinator, so as students are approaching the end of their junior year, definitely their senior year, they interact with her quite often. Dr. Skylar Atkins is the Director of Fine Arts, so if you have questions pertaining to anything here, he's your go-to for that. Mrs. Parks is our school-based social worker. Mrs. Meisinger is our front desk secretary, and Mrs. Vincent is our attendance secretary. These are the two individuals that you will most likely interact with if you're calling in your student for attendance or just need something specific from the high school. Mrs. Rohanek is our counseling secretary, Mrs. Howe is our registrar, and Mrs. Mason is our encumbrance clerk. So Mrs. Howe would be someone, if you have like enrollment questions or things like that, transcripts, she would be your go-to for those things. If you're in athletics, these individuals are the people that you need to be aware of. Coach Young is the athletic director. Coach Hurt, Coach Payne, and Coach Willard are all assistant athletic directors, and Mrs. Revis is the athletic department secretary. Okay, so if your student is an athlete, this is probably nothing new to you, but we do want to include this so there's no surprises. We do have to deal with eligibility. So if you have an F in any class, 2 weeks in a row, you are ineligible and are not able to play. So that does not mean like you have an F 2 weeks in your English class. You could have an F 1 week in your English class and an F the next week in your math class, and that would make you ineligible to compete in your sport. Students, we also have semester eligibility, so that means when you're at the end of your semester, if you've not passed 5 of your 7 courses, you would then be put on a 6-week ineligibility list where you cannot compete for 6 weeks. So it's really important. Very, very rarely do we have anyone that falls into this category, but it is something that I want to make you aware of. Student athletes do have to complete a baseline drug testing before they can compete in any sports, and then also we do have random drug testing throughout the year that they could be pulled for. So this evening we're going to go over this list of handbook highlights. We'll go through them pretty quickly. The first is the high school calendar. This is on our website. Again, you will have access to this through email, but this will give you the breakdown of the year, parent-teacher conferences, school breaks, things of that nature. Of course, the first day of school is the 20th. This is the new bell schedule. I'm sure many of you remember last year we had some parent meetings, and there was a lot of information going out about changing from block scheduling to a 7-period day. So this is the new bell schedule. The start time Monday through Thursday is 8:15. The release time is 3:35, so the students are getting out about 10 minutes later. And on Fridays, start time is still 8:15 and dismissal time is 2:40. Student IDs. So in the past, we have gotten our student IDs through Jostens, which is who our yearbook company is, and they take our school pictures. And we are not pleased with how long it's taking us to get the student IDs, so we're going to work on those ourselves. So this year, if any staff member asks the students to identify themselves or ask if they have their student ID, they need to be able to produce that. So just encourage your student to have them in their wallet, have it in their backpack. Some other reasons they need to definitely have their student IDs is, especially if they're upperclassmen leaving for tech or concurrent, they need those, especially if they're seniors who have permission to leave campus for lunch. Seniors are the only people who can leave campus for lunch, but they would need their IDs to present those showing that they have permission to leave. Like any Tulsa Public School game is requiring student IDs to be able to get in. And then oftentimes some of our sports teams will say, like, if you have your student ID, you can get into the game free tonight. So these are just some reasons that the students need to have their IDs with them. Okay, graduation requirements and valedictorian salutatorian policy. So I went over this a lot in the spring whenever we were talking about graduation requirements and the change to pathways or staying on your current grad plan. I don't want to spend a lot of time going over this, but I do have the link to the website. There is also a recorded video that for my spring parent meeting discussing and describing all of that. I would say if there's freshman parents here and students here, if you're wanting to be valedictorian, that's really something that you start your freshman year. You start getting into those AP classes and thinking about those choices. Because if you wait until your junior year, it's gonna be too late for you to achieve that status. But I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about that. It is on the website. Okay, so by this point, I have several slides about cell phones. I'm sure we have all seen in the news, on TikTok, online, the no cell phones, bell to bell, no cell. The legislatures in Oklahoma have passed law that we are not to have cell phones in school from bell to bell. So what does that mean? Bell to bell is the 8:15 bell to the 3:35 bell. So that means they cannot have their cell phones at lunch. It is the entire school day. So what does it mean what is a personal electronic device? So this is pretty much anything that has the ability to connect to a smartphone, the internet, Wi-Fi. So it's not limited to, but mostly cell phones, Apple Watches, laptops, their personal laptops, tablets, smart glasses. I guess there's now smart rings. So anything that has the ability to connect to a smartphone or to the Wi-Fi is off limits. Okay, so now the question is, well, what happens if I get caught with my phone? So we are going to be using a product called Yonder. And what's going to happen, let's say my child gets caught first hour with their cell phone, they're going to be sent to an administrator or the dean of students, and they're going to have to pouch their phone. So this is a phone pouch. And if my child gets caught with their phone, they're going to have to go get their phone pouched. And this is now locked. The only way to unlock this is with this magnet. So first offense, the student has to go get their phone pouched and a parent will be notified. So that means an administrator will be calling you to let you know that your student has been caught with their cell phone and that it's pouched for the school day. At the end of the school day, the student will go to, after 7th period, the student will go to the office and they will, sorry, this is hard. They will go unlock their pouch, they'll give us the pouch, we'll make sure nothing's wrong with the pouch because this is school property, they'll get their phone back and they'll go home. If this happens a second time, same thing, their phone's going to get pouched again, they're going to receive lunch detention this time, and we're going to make contact with you. I want to reiterate what the difference is between notification and contact. So notification, we're just going to call and maybe leave you a message. If you don't answer the phone, we're just going to leave you a message or shoot you an email letting you know your child's phone has been pouched. I'm a parent, I have students in the school, and I know what it's like for us. We want to be able to reach them. So if I don't want you wondering, like, why is my kid not responding to me? I'm trying to get a hold of them. So we want you to be aware that your student's phone has been pouched, and that's probably why they're not responding to you. It would also be helpful if you didn't text them during the day, because then they won't be tempted to have their phone out. On the second offense, parent contact, that means we actually want to speak to you. We are going to keep calling you over and over and over again, not just leave you a voicemail, not just shoot you an email. We want to make that contact and speak to you. The third offense, the phone is going to be pouched, but this time an administrator will keep the pouch, and we are going to have locking lockers that we will put the kids' pouches in. We are not thrilled about having to be responsible for a $1,000 phone. We don't want that responsibility. But we also need to escalate this a little bit if we're to the third offense. Also at the third offense, the student's going to receive in-house, and this is where the parents get inconvenienced a little bit. You're going to have to come pick up their cell phone at the end of the day, or someone that you appoint to come pick up their cell phone, but not the student. It has to be another adult. Fourth offense, pouched. There could be escalated disciplinary action. Again, the parent or parent-appointed adult will be the one to come pick up the device, and we're likely going to set up a conference with you to meet. This is going to take some time to adjust for all of us. So having your phone out once or twice, those can be accidents. When you get to the fourth and the fifth time, that's just a choice to continue breaking what is now the law. And of course, repeated offenses may result in escalated disciplinary action. One of the questions was, well, what if I just refuse to pouch my phone? Like, I'm just not going to do it. That then becomes a situation where we're not really dealing with the phone at that point. We're now dealing with a whole other situation of defiance. So we'll handle that as we need. I stated earlier that these are school properties, so we have purchased these. They're about $30 a pouch. So if the student tries to tear this up, cut it, mess up the locking pin, if they vandalize this in any way, it is school property, so the family will be responsible for replacing it. Again, we do not want to fight this fight. We understand, and you all understand, how distracting the cell phones can be, and we just want the school day to be the best possible environment for the kids, and we truly believe it's going to minimize the distractions, it's going to minimize negative social interactions that these kids constantly go back and forth on social media all day long. So we do believe that this is going to be positive for our students. Okay, so this slide I've addressed. This is just how they get their phones back. I do want to address in this, if you have a student who leaves for tech or leaves for concurrent, let's say they get their phone pouched, first hour they get caught, third hour they have to leave campus to go to tech or concurrent, we are going to let them unpouch their phone. I'm a mom. I don't want my children driving without their cell phones. If there's an accident or something happens, I want them to be able to notify me. So that is, we're never going to have your student leave campus and not have their cell phones back. Now, if you are a senior and you have open campus rights for lunch, if you get your phone pouched that morning, you've lost your open campus privilege for that day. So again, we don't want you, for the safety, we don't want you leaving without a cell phone, so make sure you don't get caught with your cell phone that morning, or you don't get to leave campus that day for lunch. Okay, dress code. No hats, no hoods or other head coverings. That's kind of basic. That's how it was for all of us. The big one we fight are the midriffs and the shorts. So we just don't want to see bellies. The problem is they have a shirt that fits and then they may tie it in the back and it looks all fine, but as soon as they raise their arms, then you can see most of their belly. So no midriffs, shorts and skirts, we just need to cover, right? I think the handbook might say a 5-inch inseam, but I can assure you none of us are measuring 5-inch inseams, so just make sure everything's covered, please. If your student violates dress code, the first time they're going to get a warning. They're going to be required to comply with dress code, so we have shirts that we often give the kids, or they may have something in their car, they may want to have a parent bring something up, that's fine, they can change, we notify you. If they cannot fix their dress code violation, they will go to in-house. So that means if they refuse to put on one of our shirts or nobody can bring them anything up, then they're just going to go to in-house for the day. They're not going to continue to walk around school. Second offense, they just go to day of in-house and we notify you as well. Okay, truancy and attendance policy. So basically, if you are not where you are assigned to be, you are considered truant. If you as a parent call the school and are needing to check out your student or need your student for some reason, and I go to where they are supposed to be and they are not there, they're hiding out in the bathroom, or they've snuck over to the MOBRA, that they are truant. So this just kind of lists the steps of consequence for truancies. I'm not going to read all of this to you. So students, by state law, have to be at school 10% of the school year. So for us, that breaks down to 9 days. If a student misses more than 9 days, then technically they have not been in school long enough to earn credit for that class. So this is per semester. So you need to really make sure, we do their attendance, but it is the student and the parent's responsibility to keep up with their absences. If your student is going to be absent, this bottom bold, shouty at you print is who you would contact, Miss Vincent, the attendance secretary, at that number, extension, or at that email address. Okay, this is a big one for kids and parents to be aware of that we are changing. Passing periods are 4 minutes now. They were 5 minutes, they're now 4 minutes. I assure you, your student can get from this building to the farthest point, the ag building, in 4 minutes, because administration can walk it. I promise you, your kids can walk it. Now, that doesn't give them a lot of time to mess around, stop and hang out with their friends in the bathroom, stop and talk. They need to get to where they're going, but they definitely can do it. Tardies tend to be a little bit of a problem. Students want to chit-chat and not get to where they're supposed to be, so we are now going to say, for exemption purposes only, and I'll explain exemptions in just a minute, 3 unexcused tardies is going to be equivalent to an absence for that period. So we're asking, okay, what is exemptions? So at the end of each semester, students have a semester test. But they have the option, or opportunity, I guess, not option, they have the opportunity to be exempt from taking that semester test. They have to meet some requirements. They have to have an A or a B, they have to have less than, 6 absences for that semester. There's kind of some rules put in place there. They can't be suspended from school. So now, you may have a student who's got an A or a B and they don't ever miss school, but they're tardy like 30 times to a class. Well, that's a problem. So for exemption purposes only, 3 unexcused tardies is going to equate to an absence for exemptions. Again, here is the breakdown of kind of consequence for those tardies. I'm not going to read those to you, but you can see them. I want to point out tardies are cumulative by class per semester. So it will start over in January. Okay, some things to know about high school. We really feel that it is vitally important for students to be involved. Not everybody's an athlete, not everybody's in band or a fine art, but we have all kinds of different clubs. Native American Club, FFA, Saga, help me think of some, Math Club, Fuse, Chemistry Club, there's all kinds of clubs. Christian Club. So encourage your child to be a part of something. We do not want them to be isolated. There is something for everybody to be a part of. Club meetings will now be held before school, at lunch, or after school, because we're not having encore this year. So that's when they will be meeting. Okay, this is another important change. If you have been a parent who's been dropping your student off at school, we have, for the safety of students, changed some things up a bit. This is an aerial view of the campus. So up here at the top where you see the red signs, this is the front of the STEM building, and this is for buses only. This has been a place that parents have been picking up and dropping off. But again, with transportation and administration, this has been an area of concern because of students darting in and out of parents' cars, and so we are going to take care of that. And right over here where you see the enter and exit only signs in the middle here, that is a teacher parking lot. But we are going to utilize that as a student drop off and pick up. It has a natural entrance and exit, so it'll be a quick loop. There's also plenty of additional parking there for parents who may want to show up early and wait for their student. There's places to park there without holding up the other line. There is another student drop-off and pickup spot back here by the track and the 900 hall entrance, so that's another place that parents can drop off and pick up as well. Okay, it's super important to stay connected, and we have a lot of different ways that we communicate. Once school starts, I send out a weekly newsletter every Sunday at 6 p.m. This is a wonderful way to stay connected with what's going on or what's coming up. I oftentimes take the opportunity to celebrate the successes of what our students or teachers are doing, just keeping you informed of what's going on. We also have the Claremore Public Schools app. The students and parents have their main communication with teachers through the Rooms app. Also, their coaches communicate with them this way. Of course, we're on social media. We post all the time, maybe annoyingly, but that's how we want to communicate with you. It's super important for you to be logged into your parent portal and checking that regularly. And of course, attending parent-teacher conferences and events. You all are here tonight, so you're the perfect example of being engaged and connected. I want to talk about the Stop It app. So this is a way for students to anonymously report anything that they may be experiencing or knowing is happening at school. We have QR codes hung up around the school, which is now going to be a problem because we can't use cell phones. But we will talk to the school about putting up links on the laptop so that students can still submit their, if they need to submit anonymously. I assure you it is completely anonymous. We have no idea who is submitting it, so it is a safe way for you to report something that might be reported. Okay, so again, I have children who go to school. We are sending our most prized possession to school. So you want them to be safe, you want them to be happy, you want them to have a positive experience, and we want those things too. So I just want you to be aware that the admin team, the counselors, we truly are working each and every day to give your students, your children, your most prized possession, a positive experience every day at school. If your student comes home and shares something with you that just doesn't really make sense or is concerning to you, please reach out to us. And I would ask if there's something that they're talking about that's happening in their classroom, reach out to their teacher. Give their teacher an opportunity to respond to you or clear something up before just jumping straight to the principal or straight to me. I know for myself, if I have a parent that's not very happy with me. I love the opportunity for us to talk first instead of just jumping to Mr. Frazier, the superintendent. So if there's anything that your student comes home and is concerning to you, please don't hesitate to reach out. A lot of times we'll have a really upset parent come to school, and it's the first time that as administration we've heard about this, and we say, you know, I'm so sorry this is happening. Who have you talked to about this? And that answer is, well, nobody. And we can't fix something if we don't know about it. And I try to reiterate this to students. I can't help you or I can't make it better if you don't talk to me about it. So please communicate with us if there's something you're concerned about. I talked about the parent portal and how important it is to be connected in this. This allows you to check your students' grades. It allows you to update all of your information so that we have the right phone numbers, the right email addresses for all of the information that I send out to you. If you don't have this set up yet, you need to contact Mrs. Meisinger, who's the secretary in the front office, or you can contact the enrollment center, and they will give you the information you need to get your parent portal set up. Okay, next is information on free and reduced meals. So your kids are going to come home with a free and reduced lunch application. There's also an application online in the parent portal under meal benefits. And so it's very important that you apply for this. There are some benefits to the school, such as Title I services, free tutoring, technology, professional development. Sometimes we can get lower rates on the cost of Wi-Fi or devices. So that's benefits to the school, but the benefits to you are maybe you qualify for free or reduced lunches, reduced academic test fees, reduced technology plan fees, discounts applying for college. So there's a lot of things that benefit you if you qualify for this. And there's a link here. Again, you'll have this presentation. It is on child nutrition as well. It is in your parent portal. So there are plenty of places where you could go to access this to do it online. Claremore High School is a Title I school, which means that we do qualify for some of that funding for tutoring for math, English, things for summer school, professional development. We do have English and math tutoring these days during the week. And another thing I want to talk to you is about Oklahoma's Promise. So this is something that I wish existed whenever I was a student going to college. Some qualified Oklahoma students have this opportunity to earn a scholarship. There are some requirements that must be met to qualify for this. One of those is if you're a first-time student going to college for the first time. I was the first in my family to go to college. That would have allowed me to qualify for this. There's some income requirements, things like that. Mrs. Adcock is an expert on this. She's our college and career coordinator. I am not an expert on this, but she would be the go-to for kids and seeing if they can qualify for this service. Okay, social media. We know that this is a wonderful tool, and it can also be a terrible tool. So as parents, I'm just going to ask that you please try your best to know what your students are posting. We, on the admin side of this, see a lot of really terrible things on social media. It's important you have the conversations with your students about things that they may text to each other, whether it's certain types of pictures, threatening statements, threatening images. I assure you the last thing that we as principals want to do is to address and monitor and deal with social media things. But when those things come to the school day and start affecting the learning environment, sometimes we have to get involved. Sometimes the police have to get involved. I can assure you we are doing everything in our power to see if we can start to subpoena Instagram for bullying pages that kids create. I'm in the middle of trying to get that figured out. Again, it can be a wonderful, great tool, and sometimes it can be a terrible tool. So I just ask as parents and students, you do your part to try to make this a positive experience for kiddos. I think that is it. So I just want to thank you again for coming tonight. If you have any questions, we'll be over here for a few minutes. You can definitely come ask us any questions or reach out through email. Accessing our website has all of that information. And we're just super excited about the school year and can't wait to get things started. So you guys have a good evening. Thank you.